Hello! Plaiting? No, not plaiting, not yet, no. Bevelling strands for the English eye. Okay. Right, if you have a look at this, here's a strand which has been beveled on the top edge, or beveled one edge completely like that, and like so, basically like the belly strand, right? And I'm doing an English eye. So this one is going to twirl around a few times around the English eye, because that's what strands do. Imagine 4 of these interlocking with each other without a core, okay? And then the English eye is brought together like so, and lo and behold, the strand goes out the same side that it came in at, and the bevels are one up, one down. So what one needs to do is change the side of the bevel. If that's the middle of the strand there, this is beveled left-handed that way and left-handed that way. And so around the English eye it goes. Let's have some more string. A few times to illustrate. And there's the midpoint where the bevel changes over. So that's the midpoint of the English eye. Let's get over that way like so. And when these are brought together, lo and behold, the bevels are now on the same side. So, the English eye strands have to be beveled from the middle down to the ends, or from the ends down to the middle. I could have done this right-handed, hang it up there, bevel down there, note the midpoint, and come off at just the right point. Now, personally, I would find that a bit trickier than doing that left-handed, because, right, here's one of these double strands to a yoke that's going to be added in. Normally, when strands are cut to a yoke, could be anything from 4 upwards. Some go left, some go right. If they're all beveled right-handed, for example, then the top edge of the left-hand strand, for example, or maybe the bottom edge, depending on... Anyway, the way I do it, the top edge is going to be beveled, and the bottom edge is going to be beveled on the other side. And that'll give you a classic sort of look of the bevels going up the way on one side and down the way on the other side. However, there's nothing to stop me from arranging the bevels like I did on the belly, so that they all point up the way, and therefore have that reverse scale effect that I mentioned the last time round when it comes to picking up dirt. Tiny little consideration, but it's another dose of neatness. Okay, I'll do this. I've already greased and stretched these strands, so all I need to do is bevel them. And what I do with these double ones is wrap that around a nail, preferably a bit of a rough old nail for grip, and hang them up. Oh yes, before I forget, because I've been forgetting, just one little thing about the difference between plaiting from the butt and plaiting from the point. If I'm plaiting from the butt, and my strands are a little too narrow, then the angle of the plaiting will increase like that. And they will go round more times for any length, so they'll get shorter at a quicker rate. You'll use them up quicker, and they'll get narrower quicker, so the problem will be exacerbated. Sort of like the biblical aphorism, "From them that hath not, yea, what they have shall be taken away," usually by the rich. If you're plaiting from the point, it's the other way round. If the strands are too wide, the gap they'll open up like that, and the plaiting will progress a little quicker, and then they'll be a little bit more self-regulating. So basically, you can get away with a little bit more leeway if you're plaiting from the points than you can if you're plaiting from the butt. If you're plaiting from the butt, then the spare strands down at the bottom will be smaller in number and smaller in size. You're throwing away less leather. And if you have perhaps not enough and you need to splice in, it's easier doing it that way than if you find yourself at the butt end and on the handle and you're running out of strands and need to splice something more in. Then, yeah. Obviously, if you can plan and cut your leather accurately at the outset, that's a bonus. Anyway, enough of that. More of this. A little bit of leather. So, I am beveling the undersides of this because the whip's plaited from the point and it'll be that way around, and the bevels will be on the top side when it's completed. Oh yeah, notice that I've also put a little hole, with that little hole punch, in the end, because when these little babies do the splits, I don't want to kind of part company. So, here's where a short, blunt-nosed knife is very, very useful for beveling. Get right in there, and off we go. Now, I've still numbered these strands. Oh, yes, there's another thing. Whereas when plaiting the belly, each leg of the double taper strand went in a different direction, one left, one right. But as you saw when doing the English eye, both legs come out the same side. So, where are you? So, you know all that business about marking them off, ones and twos and points versus squares. The points versus square ends doesn't matter. The numbering does, because you want one strand, both ends going the other way, and the matching strand, both ends going in the other way, to even out the thin and thick, etc. So the numbers need matching up, but the ends don't. If you're going to be plaiting this, if you're going to be beveling this all right-handed, for example, all the same way, so one side of bevels goes up, the other side of bevels goes down, then at the English eye, the plaiting stage, you're going to have to make sure that each of these is in the right orientation, so that a one goes one way and a one goes the other way. By beveling them the way I'm doing here, it's like when we set up the start of the plait for the belly, the bevels will show you which way the strand should be orientated, so you don't have to, keep track of it. Okay. Usually I just kind of rattle through this on autopilot, but having to talk to a virtual audience just above my ear and remember salient points and all that is making this a rather strange experience. I also have to think about things a lot more. I mean, this is the first whip where I've actually beveled half the strands left-handed, because I was thinking, working this out, going, oh, hang on a minute, if I do it this way, I might get a better result. So, hey, I'm passing on my knowledge and acquiring more at the same time, that's good. Quid pro quo and all. Off we come. Look at all this wastage, lad. If I could actually cut... In fact, what I might do is see if I can make one of these strand cutters with a blade at an angle. Cut and bevel at the same time. Nifty. But I can see the difficulties. Hang on a minute. These are not useful. They are a distraction. Off we go. Right. Now for the tricky bit. You see, I'm not used to this. There you go. Nonetheless, not used to this. Still, I do enjoy learning the new things and improving the quality a little bit at a time wherever I can is what keeps whip making fresh. And this is just big enough. No, it's not. This tent. It's not big enough left-handed because I run into the inner tent. So yes, as you see, unless you are born ambidextrous or prepared to put in a lot of time practicing, then it might be a better idea to keep track of your pair of strands. Make sure one goes one way, one goes the other way. Or squander more time and effort learning how to bevel with the other hand while pointing a camera at the work. As I say, the alternative to doing it that way would be, that's why I have this little cork there, would be to hang this up, that'd be the right one, this one, which I was doing left-handed, simply hang it up from the other end and bevel towards the centre. See, this is definitely the happy side. Where's the middle bit? I don't want to overdo this. Oh, there you are. And okie dokie, there you come. Just about. Now I'll have to finesse that from the other side, but there we go. So yeah, in fact, while I'm at it and in the mood for firsts, let's just plop this over here. I'm going to need to doctor that little bit at the end, but here's the second pair. So, there's the middle. Let's put a little knot in it. There. How far can I come up? Come up to there, and then that leaves a couple of inches of safety space. So yeah, let's get a left and right hand bevel going with right-handed beveling only. First time I've actually thought of this. Never, you know, like I say, beveling left-handed, first go. Not too bad, but okay. The rest of the strands took a heck of a lot longer left-handed than they did right-handed. You know, it kind of came away in little bits. Neat enough job, but it took time. Ooh, I'm running out of tent! I am so running out of tent. Okay, I am stopping there, because that's where the mark is. So, there we go. That's beveling for the English eye, and You'll see exactly how that lays in the next thrilling instalment. Ta-ra for now.